Bonsoir. Today I want to talk about why I quit Fashion Week. Because this is something nobody really prepares you about when you romanticize fashion as a career. For a while, I worked as a graphic designer for a Fashion Week organization. But in case you don't believe me, you can literally go right now to their social media and see my work. Yeah, if you still don't believe me, I truly don't know. So from the outside, it looked amazing. For me, it was a dream come true. You know, Fashion Week, designers, and making flyers from runways, and just like my whole job was, yeah, graphic design. But in order for me to do the graphic design, I have to look over the assets and the videos and the photos, and it's just look at my smile right now. It's just something that I'm really obsessed about. I feel like it was kind of the thing that would actually validate all those years over fixating over fashion, or I don't know if I'm saying it right, but like getting obsessed over it. At the time, I really needed the job. I was kind of in a complicated spot when they offered me the position. So even though the amount of money they were paying me was definitely not what I would have accepted from another company, I just accepted because it was Fashion Week. But yeah, I told myself that maybe the money would come later, and like I was just so excited to be working with Fashion Week that I just didn't give a fuck. But the reality was extremely different. It was very fucking unorganized. The approvals had to go through so many fucking people that I would nearly lose track, and I could not keep everyone happy. One would approve it exactly as it was, another one would change their mind 2 days later, and another one would ask for a change that would completely change the whole thing. And the thing that I hated the most is that everything was last minute. Since they were very unorganized, everything was urgent, everything was for yesterday, for last week. All the work that I was doing was rushed. So after a few months, I just felt that I didn't have enough time to, like figure out something. If you're a creative, you know what I'm talking about. You cannot just I don't know what goes through the mind of some people. Like, I'm very creative and I don't mind creative challenges, but I feel like when you're rushing creativity, it just doesn't work right. And I don't mind corrections, but just redesigning the same thing over and over and over and over and over again without any limits, it was just kind of draining. Specifically for the amount of money that they were paying me. And on top of that, the scope of work kept expanding. It wasn't just graphic design anymore after a few weeks. They asked me to, help with the website, to make video edition, and to make sales pitches, and to make some things for a magazine. And it was all of that, like more hours, more edits, more changes, and more scope of work. All of that while the pay stayed exactly the same. Exactly the fucking same. There was never a conversation about adjusting the compensation, no recognition for the responsibilities that had grown and were out of the role of a graphic designer. Because obviously the web developer, the website designer quit while I was there. So suddenly it became a job as well. And it's, just more tasks, more urgency, more pressure. The pay exactly the same. And that's where I really started to wake up. You're gonna slap me. Seriously, you're gonna slap me when I tell you how much they were paying me. They were paying me 6,000 Mexican pesos per month working for a full-time role. Bruh. And at the beginning, it was not okay because that would not like that would literally just cover my rent. Um, Luckily, my rent was really cheap at that moment. I was living in a really small place, but for work tied to fashion, even though I loved it and even though I was obsessed with everything, for constant revisions, expanded responsibilities, and extremely high expectations, I would at least expect to be compensated fairly. I can confidently say that this was definitely the worst paying client that I've ever worked with in my entire career. And I definitely stayed longer than I should have because not only I needed the stability at the time, but also because fashion has this way of making you feel like you should just be grateful that you're there. Like, and they were constantly telling me like, you know, that we can just replace you whenever we want. Like, mostly when I start asking for raise or asking to be paid for working extra hours, they were like, you know that a lot of girls want to be in this position, like they all want to have your job, right? And I was like, okay, está bien. And there's this like unspoken rule in fashion that just the passion that you have for it should replace fair pay. Sorry, kind of like, well, not just in fashion, just like creative work in general. It's kind of like you should just accept all the chaos and the shitty salaries just because it's a cool job. You know, it's a cool girl job. I work in fashion. And don't get me wrong, like my ego was so high at the time. Like I've never felt more egocentric than when I was working in Fashion Week. I was like, you bitches, just please don't talk to me. Like I may not be eating for the last 3 days, but I work in fashion, okay? Like that was the vibe. What really broke the illusion for me was realizing how disconnected the image from the outside was versus the infrastructure. I think that was kind of like the biggest disappointment, you know, that realization that the luxury image that they portray, it just doesn't really match with how people do the work and how the people that do the work are treated or supported in the industry. So I followed my mother's advice. I started applying to different roles, and when I got a better like I got exactly the same job for a real estate company. I was doing exactly the same thing they were asking me in Fashion Week, but they were paying me like 4 or 5 times way more than they were paying me. So that's when I started quiet quitting. Like I still did my job, but I just stopped over giving. I stopped being so emotionally invested because they would sometimes, you know, like talk to me at 10 p.m., 12 p.m., like, hey, we need this done like right now. And I'll just start to put boundaries at my work. And while I was working at this luxury real estate brand, the differences became really clear to me. Clear systems, clear goals, clear KPIs, fair communication, and obviously fair pay, actual respect for my fucking time and my fucking skills, and just this feeling that people actually trusted my vision and my expertise, and like I had a voice, you know, I love to have creative freedom whenever I'm working with someone. And yeah, that's kind of when it clicked for me. I I didn't quit fashion because I stopped loving it. I didn't even quit. Like I was quiet quitting. But I did it because I love myself more and because I truly believe that well at that time like I deserve better than this really shitty pay. And if you ask me, would I do it again? Like right now, would I take a client like that? Hell to the fucking no. And I think that's also another reason why I'm doing this channel and why I'm focusing, you know, so much on fashion topics, because fashion is still a really huge part of who I am. I love design, I love moods, I love storytelling, I love culture, I love history, fashion, and it's something that I've always been passionate about. And thanks to fashion, thanks to clothes, thanks to the fashion industry, it's where my love for marketing was born. Admire how can someone like how can two different brands sell a simple white t-shirt, but one of them sells them at $10 and the other one sells them at 1,000, right? Like even if it's exactly the same product, it's all about marketing, you know, it's all about how you sell yourself, it's all about how you present your business and how you present your company. And it's not something that just happens overnight. These fashion houses have been around way longer than my own existence. So I know that this video is not just completely gonna change the whole fashion industry by overnight, but it's helpful because I just opened this YouTube channel, so I'm just getting out of my comfort zone by talking. That's it. I would love to be a fashion designer one day. Or I think, no, actually, like, I would like to be a fashion designer, but when I'm older, like after my 40s and 50s. But maybe this year I would like to be head of marketing for a fashion brand or a luxury brand. Help shape the narrative, help with systems, help with the strategy. Um, when I say that, I guess you're probably thinking of a really cool fashion business. Not really. I would like to work with someone that has a really great product, someone that has, really great potential, but they just haven't tapped into it yet. Someone that's just a designer. They're just into fashion. They're just not into marketing, and they need that, that fresh brain, I guess. Just help to not only have things look good, but also that they can function, that they can scale, and that they can leave this impression. I cannot find the word. It's not the right word that I want to use right now, but I'll think about it. If you don't know me, I'm a fashion addict. I have worked across marketing, paid media, branding, websites, automations, and content strategies. So, I understand how visuals can connect to performance and how those visuals have to actually, like, those visual and that performance have to translate into getting new clients. And how storytelling also connects to revenue, and how structure protects creativity instead of just killing it and make you feel like you're all over the place. I feel like in general, brands they don't just need beautiful campaigns, they need smart, intelligent marketing with strong systems, and obviously the respect for the people that are building it behind the scenes, right? If I start doing marketing commentaries, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, why not? Maybe we can make some brand breakdowns or some fashion business analysis, like marketing focus. I think that would be pretty fun. I have my own document of at least 5 fucking thousand ideas of what I think cool marketing is. But yeah, if you're thinking about leaving your current job because you don't feel fulfilled, you don't feel like they're paying that much, and they're just making you crazy, quiet quitting was not lazy at all. It was protecting me. It was protecting me and myself until I could actually leave. And honestly, leaving was one of the best decisions that I could possibly do at that time, because right after I left, I got another offer as a part-time graphic designer, and it was thanks to the recommendation of that real estate company that I was working in. Both of them were really good clients. So yeah, I mean, fashion, I feel like it should inspire you, it shouldn't drain you. And it's something that I learned the hard way, that if a job or a client is draining you, it's just not worth your time. Last year, I let go of a client that was really fucking annoying, and that's the whole goal. It's to live a peaceful life, to also connect with the people that you're working, so it does not feel like, ugh, I gotta go to work again. Ugh. Like that. I just don't like that vibe. I wake up every morning so fucking excited and so fucking ready to conquer the world that, yeah. And this is kind of just to let you know, if you got a business offer from a brand that looks, very fancy and very luxurious, but they cannot afford to treat and pay their creatives as well, then I'm sorry, it's not luxury, it's just branding. And all of this to say, because I got an offer last month from a really famous recruiting agency here in Mexico. I'm not gonna say any names, but you've definitely seen them posting jobs in Indeed and LinkedIn. They offered me a position as head of marketing they first told me that it was just for that company, but it turns like after the onboarding, it turns out that I was going to be head of marketing for like 3 different fucking brands. Because this guy had a podcast and this guy had a side business just specifically for this thing, and I had to manage like everything. They were just offering me 20,000 pesos, which it's literally an entry salary role for a marketing manager. Not even an entry salary. It's kind of like a, yeah, entry mid salary, I guess. I sit with it. I meditated for a really long time. Like, and I remember being at the meeting, and they were going over the KPIs and the things that we had to do and the plan and the strategy. And I was like, why am I doing the same thing again? Like, why am I letting myself be blind over the fact that this is a famous company, a recognizable company? You know, it might look really good on my CV and it might look really good on my portfolio, but will that be worth it? Like, will that be worth my peace? Will that be worth my time? Because like I did some research, and do you know what a head of marketing gets paid? It's definitely not that. And I kindly told him, like, hey, you know, after the meeting I realized that the salary expectations versus the scope of work that you're asking me to do, it's just not aligned with me, and I'm sorry to do this on the first Friday of the year, but I'm gonna have to pass. And I really hope that you can find another head of marketing, because I'm not doing it for that salary. And I was really proud of that. I think I would have gone crazy if I accepted it and then just drive myself crazy with stress and this huge amount of scope of work that it was just not up to my knowledge and up to my expertise, up to my discipline, responsibilities. I know what I bring to the table, and I'm sorry, I'm just gonna be really really discernment about the tables that I sit in going forward. And yeah, this was everything. I talked too much, and talking about, finding a good job. I have an interview right now, so I hope that goes well. He looks interested and he looks serious, so good luck and bye bye.